good to see you again.
Nice to see you, Dave.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
This movie is fantastic.
Thank you.
As I told you last time we spoke, huge fan. I love your work.
Thank you.
And this is no exception.
Thank
Just
you.
Wonderful. But that said,
moving on.
No, because this is a funny question. I wrote this while I was watching the film.
Okay.
If you had Paul, that's your character's name in the film, as a professor, what would you do?
I had that guy as a professor. Sure. I mean, hasn't everybody had that guy?
That's true.
To some extent.
That's true.
I had a guy like that, very similar to that guy, that I drew on quite a bit for the character. So I had that guy. And I had a hard time with him like everybody did. But I think the important thing was, even as a kid, I remember thinking, I don't think he's a bad guy, actually, underneath it. Because he would have moments you would be like, oh, he seems like he's not always a jerk. So, but it's hard with those guys. It's very hard with those guys because they're relentless, So just keep your head down and try not to get in the guy's way.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Hey, the magic of the three the main characters you're included. How would you describe the relationship? Because they're just they're. It's
they come together as an odd little temporary family.
That's it.
So I suppose that's what it is, and they each begin to gain even more compassion and empathy for each other as it goes on, as they start to realize this person is in a similar kind of pain or whatever, just in pain of some kind, and everybody starts caring for each other more. So it is a funny little family, temporarily.
Was it cold to film this? Because it looks cold.
It is. It was cold, and that's actually really important because, we all looked, our noses were red and stuff like that because it was actually very cold. And whenever it's snowing in this movie, it's actually snowing, which is not usually what happens in movies. They have to fake the snow, but it would actually snow. But yeah, it was cold. But I'm from New England, so I don't mind the cold. I like the cold.
I just talked to Dominic. I can't believe it's his first movie.
Crazy.
And I told him, I said, look, the first time I met Paul Giamatti, I was terrified. No, you're a great guy, but I mean, no, but yeah. When we met years ago, I was like, oh, I'm about to talk to Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
You're an actor. You're famous. That's your job.
Got it.
Okay. But no, you're a down-to-earth guy.
Okay.
Yeah. In real life. But so I asked him, I said, the first day that you showed up and you met him, he's like, he was like, welcoming is what he said about you. That you were a great coach were his exact words.
I was so happy to be with him because I really liked him when I met him. But that's nice of him to say, coach, but I don't think I really had to do much at all with him except just keep telling him how great he was, because he was. So I just kept looking at him and going, that was great, what you just did. That was so awesome. And but I didn't want to get him in his head in any way. So I just sat there just admiring him. He was fantastic.
Yeah, when I walked in, I said, I can't believe this is your first film, and look who you're starring with. Okay, I have never asked you this question. I'm going to ask you today.
Okay.
It's our big day. It's an easy one. What about acting? I've already said, I love your work, and I've already said that.
No.
But what is it about acting that you absolutely just love so much?
Oh, boy, that's a big question. I mean, clearly I like not being myself at times, although that's changed as I've gotten older, and I've let it be a little bit more me when I do things. I suppose as I've done it, and the more I do it, the thing I actually really love is the connection with the other actors, but with the audience, and particularly an audience of people I will never know. And so that kind of mysterious connection is more and more the reason I actually think I do it, and I've always done it. It's not the hiding behind the mask. It's actually trying to find some way to get out from behind a mask and connect with people.
Thank you for answering that.
Thank you.
There's a ton of buzz on this film, myself included. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I'm definitely nominating you because
I appreciate it.
No, this is just great.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Only on the Backstage Experience.